This man is driving on a scooter. It is a red or orange kind of scooter here. So he's driving down the road on a scooter, and he is wearing a helmet on his head. He is wearing a helmet because it is safer to wear a helmet. It's a good thing he's wearing a helmet, because what happens next is his scooter drives over a puddle on the floor. You see here, there is a puddle on the floor. There's a puddle on the floor, and his tire, the black tire on his front wheel, goes into the puddle. This orange scooter has two tires. There's a back tire and there's a front tire. And his front tire has gone into the puddle on the ground. So he's driven over a puddle. And he crashes his scooter. He drives over the puddle, and then he falls off his scooter. So you can look here, he has fallen off his scooter, and also his scooter has fallen over as well. So he has had a crash. He's had a crash. You can see here that he is lying on the ground. He's on the ground, and he looks like he has been injured. I think he is injured right now. So he's lying on the ground, injured. We can see from his face that he is in pain at the moment. He's in pain and he's injured. There are many onlookers watching from the side. So when he had his crash, there were many onlookers. It looks like this group of people were walking past. They were walking by, and then they noticed that he had crashed. So one of the onlookers, this woman wearing a skirt, she comes over to help. And this woman, she calls the ambulance. So she calls the ambulance, and then the ambulance shows up. The ambulance shows up with its siren. There is a siren on the top of the ambulance going na, 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 so that the other cars will get out of the way when the ambulance is driving. So there is a red siren on top of the ambulance to help the ambulance get to the incident faster. So the ambulance shows up, the paramedics show up. So two paramedics have shown up to the scene, and they are helping the young man who has crashed, who is injured. What the paramedics are going to do is they're going to lift him onto this stretcher here. So we can see there is a blue stretcher on the ground, and they're going to lift the injured man onto the stretcher. Next, the two paramedics, after having put him onto the stretcher, they will lift him and the stretcher into the ambulance. So the two paramedics are going to lift him into the ambulance. Finally, the ambulance, which was using the siren to get to the hospital faster, the ambulance has arrived at the hospital. So here we are, they have arrived at the hospital, and the nurse here, the nurse is pushing him through the corridors in the hospital. What she's doing is she is wheeling him through the corridors, we can say. So she's wheeling him in. She's wheeling him in, and the man is, it looks to me like the man is unconscious. he's unconscious right now. Maybe he is sleeping, or maybe he is unconscious, but the nurse is wheeling him through the corridors on a stretcher. So he's being wheeled through the corridors on a stretcher. Next, the nurse is going to do what we call, she's going to put him on a drip here. So she's going to put him on a drip. They will attach this tube here into his skin. They put the tube directly into his bloodstream, right into the blood in his body. They will be giving him water to keep him hydrated, or they may be giving him nutrients, certain vitamins, minerals, or certain medications as well. Medications. They put him on a drip because then all of these things can be put directly into the bloodstream of the patient. So this man is now this nurse's patient. He is now a patient at the hospital now. So the man is a patient at the hospital, and he's been put on a drip. So you can see here, he is lying down on the hospital bed, and he's on a drip right now. We can see his pulse here on this screen at the back. We can see that his pulse is being measured. His pulse, or his heartbeat, his heart rate, is being measured here on the screen. This green line here, this is his pulse, or his heart rate. Next, the doctor has to perform an operation on the patient. So I guess it was quite a bad crash that he had on his scooter. It was a very bad crash. And so the doctor here, the doctor who is wearing a face mask in front of his mouth, along with his assistant here, his assistant who is also wearing a face mask, he is performing an operation on the young man's right leg here. So he's performing an operation on the young man's right leg, and the young man is sleeping. They have probably given the young man anesthetic, actually. It's very likely that they have given this young man anesthetic so that he does not feel any pain while they are doing the operation on his right leg. But now the young man has woken up. He has woken up, and you know what? He looks a lot more cheerful now. He looks very cheerful. He looks much happier than before. His parents are here now. So his parents have come to see him after his accident. The young man is still lying in the hospital bed. He is still on a drip for now. And it looks like the doctors have bandaged up his leg and his ankle. I think they have bandaged up this area of his leg. They have wrapped a bandage around. They've wrapped a bandage around his shin bone, his ankle, and his foot. So there is a bandage wrapped around his shin, ankle, and foot areas. His toes are actually sticking out the end of the bandage. So they have not bandaged his toes up. And now the young man needs to leave the hospital. So it looks like they have given the young man crutches so that he can walk. So he is holding, in his right hand, he is holding a crutch, and in his left hand, he is holding the other crutch. And he is trying to use the crutches to walk down the corridor in the hospital. But it looks like he is struggling. I think he is struggling to use the crutches here. Maybe this is the first time he has ever used crutches in his life. So yeah, So they've given him some crutches and he's trying to walk with the crutches. And then the young man gets home and he gets a bit of a bad surprise after all this. He gets home and he finds something in the mail. Something has arrived to his house in the mail. And it is a hospital bill. So he's received a big hospital bill in the mail, a huge hospital bill in the mail that he will now have to pay, unfortunately, for his stay at the hospital. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.